Hello YouTube, in today's video I'm going to talk about the basics of running form, foot strike, and the kind of basic injuries you get and how you can prevent them. So first of all, when we run, our posture or our foot strike is not hugely important in terms of what way we land. So whether you're a heel striker, a mid-foot striker or a forefoot striker, it doesn't really matter. Just under 90% of all runners are heel strikers, and most of the elite marathon runners are heel strikers. So over the years, probably since around the time that the book Born to Run came out, and in that Chris McDougall lambasted people who heel strike and running, and since then there's been a whole movement around barefoot running and a big no-no for heel striking. But if you look at the actual evidence-based research, you'll find that, as I said, just under 90%, I think 89.6% of people who run are heel strikers, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with heel strike. I am a professional heel striker, have been for 20 years. There's nothing wrong with it. What you really need to consider, instead of how your foot hits the ground, and like I said, it can either be a heel strike, a mid-foot strike, or a forefoot strike, the most important thing is where your foot lands in relation to your body. So as your heel, mid-foot or forefoot hit the ground, we would want it to be level with about the front of our chin, or no further than the front of your chin. If you're landing with your foot a little bit further than your chin, and when I say landing with your foot, the part of your foot that hits the ground first, if that's further than your chin or your center of mass, that's going to lead to a couple of problems. And the reason for that is we know that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you're a heel striker and you land in front of your center of mass or beyond that chin, what you can see happens is as your heel hits the ground, you're going to have to really dorsiflex your foot. So if this is my foot, as the heel comes down, we're going to have to dorsiflex that heel. So dorsiflex the foot, so pull the toes up in order for the heel to reach the ground. Otherwise it will scrape on its way through. And what that's going to do is going to really work on the muscles in the front of the leg called the tibialis anterior muscles. So all those muscles running down the front of your shin. So people who overstride, who are heel strikers, tend to get stuff like shin splints, anterior knee pain, compartment syndrome, or they might get stress fractures in the tibia itself. People who are forefoot strikers, so who land on their toes and land beyond that center of mass, what's going to happen with them, with their equal and opposite reaction, is that when their foot hits the ground, they're going to have to really contract that calf complex, so the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscles. They're going to have to really contract those to absorb the force of that forefoot hitting the ground beyond the center of mass. So those people tend to, and this is just kind of a loose guideline, but those people tend to get calf strains, Achilles tendinitis, plantar fasciitis. Those type of injuries usually plague the people who are forefoot strikers who overstride. Midfoot people who overstride can kind of have a combination of things, probably more of plantar fasciitis on that midfoot stride. The important thing to know about striking the foot on the ground is that throughout the course of a race, particularly a marathon, if you start off the marathon, you might be a heel striker at the start, and then midway when you're starting to get tired, you will definitely change your gait and you might change how your foot hits the ground. So you might in the latter stages of the marathon be a mid-foot striker. If you're going to have a sprint finish in like a 5K race, I did a park run at the weekend and I was just looking at my cadence. My cadence was perfect all the way through, around about 175 revs per minute, and then you can see just at the end it spikes up because I had a really quick finish for the last maybe 200 meters I sprinted, and I'm pretty sure I would have been a perfect forefoot striker when I'm sprinting. I was wearing some Nike Vaporfly Next Percents, and I know that my gait changes when I go into that sprint mode. So don't just think of yourself as always one way or the other. Don't beat yourself up if you're a heel striker, because like I said, 89.6% of us who run are heel strikers. And like I said, if you're doing a marathon or a half marathon or even a 10K, as your body fatigues in the later stages of the race, your gait will change and therefore your foot strike will change. Things you can do if you're out at the weekend or if you're out on your easy runs, when you're running, just be aware of your cadence, just be aware of where your foot is landing. If you are plagued by injuries, get your phone, have a little video of yourself just running, like you can see me here, just running straight, and you can see that my foot is landing underneath my center of mass, so just underneath my chin. If you can get your foot to land under your center of mass, you're almost guaranteed that you'll clear up any niggles or any injuries that you have that are plaguing you, any sort of muscle strains, tendinopathies, plantar fascia type stuff. You can work on that. There's a couple of little drills you can do. I'll do a video on the drills you can do next. So just to wrap up this video, this was just a little review of running form, where the foot lands, the type of striking you can do on the ground, and how it changes throughout the race. And the thing that you should be most aware of is that when you hit the ground, your foot should be going under that center of mass. Remember guys, run far, run fast, but most of all, run sensible.